Today we're going to look at assembly and setup of the self-watering cedar planter from Larry Hall and the guys over at growbaggardensystems.com. When you open the box and lay out the pieces for the main planter, you'll see the bottom slats that go into the top tray, two long side pieces, the lower shelf, and the two end pieces with the legs already attached. You'll also find a hardware pack with 4 short screws, 8 long screws, and an instruction book. Tools needed for the basic assembly are either a Phillips head screwdriver or an electric drill with Phillips bit. To start assembly, you're going to take one of the short side pieces with legs already attached and lay it on the ground with the milled slots facing up. Next, you're going to insert the long side piece into the slot, making sure to match up the top rail with the top rail that's already on the short side connected between the legs. Now take the other long side piece and place it into the other slot on the other side. Also remember to put it with the top edge facing up as well. Take the remaining short side piece with legs attached and place it on top of the long side pieces you just inserted. Now, taking 4 of the 8 long screws, start them in the pre-drilled holes and screw them all the way in until they are flush with the legs. Next, we're going to turn the table over and repeat the same for the other short side. Insert the remaining 4 long screws, tightening them down until they are flush. Now we can turn the planter up on its legs. Take the middle shelf and place it at the bottom of the planter between the legs. Next we're going to take one of the floor pieces for the upper tray and turn it up on its edge. Set the lower shelf on top of this and repeat on the other side. Now we can take the 4 short screws, placing them in the pre-drilled holes in the lower shelf, and secure them to the planter's legs. Now we can remove the 2 small boards that were holding up the lower shelf. Next we can take the remaining small boards and lay them out as the floor of the planter on top. Notice 2 of the boards have notches cut out. They will go on either end. This concludes the assembly of the base planter itself. Now we're going to show how to set up the self-watering system on the top of the planter. Opening the other box, we're going to need the following items: the pond liner, the pre-adjusted float assembly, the roll of black tubing, the yellow bulkhead connector, and the small spigot adapter. Tools needed for this will be an electric drill, a razor blade, a black Sharpie marker, and either a 1-inch spade bit or 1-inch hole saw. You'll also need a ruler or tape measure. First, pick where you want the location of the bulkhead connector to be. This is where the tubing will come in to feed the automatic float and where the overflow for excess water will drain out from. You need to be at least 1 inch away from the planter's legs. We're going to measure 1 inch or greater from the side and 2.5 inches up from the floor of the planter. Mark your spot there where you'll drill the hole. Now, using either the 1-inch hole saw or 1-inch spade bit, drill on the mark you made through to the outside of the planter. Next, place the pond liner into the planter. Make sure that it is tight against the corner nearest where you drilled the hole. Holding the pond liner tight against the hole you drilled from the inside, you're going to mark on the outside through the hole using the black Sharpie marker onto the pond liner. Now, remove the pond liner. Take the pond liner and place it against a hard surface you're not worried about scratching using a razor blade. Using the razor blade, you're going to cut out the hole that you marked on the pond liner. Place the pond liner back into the planter, lining up the hole you just cut with the hole that is drilled in the side of the planter. Insert the bulkhead connector into the hole sticking outward toward the outside edge of the planter. Now, start the nut from the bulkhead connector and tighten it all the way against the side of the planter. Place the float assembly into the planter with the opening facing downward. Run the tubing through the bulkhead connector and into the quick connect fitting on the end of the float assembly. Press it firmly into the quick connect until it will not go any further. Now it is time to find a suitable spot for your planter. Make sure it is sitting on level ground and near your preferred water source, whether it be the spigot from your home or a rain barrel. Once you have your planter in place, run the black tubing that is coming from the float assembly over to your water source. If you need to trim the black tubing shorter, use a razor blade or some method that will not crimp the tubing so that it will make a good connection in the quick connect fitting. Finally, screw the quick connect fitting onto your spigot and push in the black tubing the same way you did with the float assembly. Now, turn on your water source and make sure that the planter fills up to the appropriate depth, about 1 to 1.5 inches, and then stops. Now that we have verified the float assembly is working properly, you may pot your preferred plants into the provided grow bags that come in the kit. Once you are finished potting your plants, you may arrange them as you wish into the planter. Now, once you've got the plants arranged to your liking, you may fill in around the base of the plants, covering the water level with pea gravel. This prevents algae growth and mosquitoes from breeding in open water. This concludes the tutorial for assembly and setup of the self-watering cedar planter that you can get from Grow Bag Garden Systems. If you would like to purchase your own, please visit www.growbaggardensystems.com. Thanks for watching.